Okay, let's talk about how to multiply fractions. And this is definitely something that you need to know if you're at the sixth grade level or beyond. Now, fractions is a huge topic in all levels of mathematics. Even in elementary school, you start learning basic concepts of fractions. But when you're in middle school, you definitely need to know how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide fractions along with other things. And the easiest thing to do when it comes to fractions by far is to multiply fractions, okay? So if I would have to kind of classify this or order these things in terms of difficulties, the easiest thing to do is to multiply fractions. The second easiest thing to do is to divide fractions. And then adding and subtracting fractions, this is also not that difficult, but this is where you have to deal with the LCD. And this is typically where students just like, oh, they just, fall apart. They hate fractions. They don't want to deal with fractions. I get that. Way back in the good old days when I was in middle school, elementary school, probably even high school, I didn't like dealing with fractions either. But you need to know how to work with fractions. They are everywhere in mathematics at all levels. So let's go ahead and review how to multiply fractions. Super easy, but we'll take a look at a couple of variations and some additional points that I want to make that are related to multiplying fractions, some other things that we need to be thinking about as well. But we're going to get into all this in just one second. But first, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is John. I'm the founder of TC Math Academy. I'm also a middle and high school math teacher. I've been teaching math for decades, and I'm telling you right now, if you're struggling in mathematics, there is hope. So don't give up. To be successful in mathematics, the main thing you need is great math instruction. Hopefully, you got an excellent math teacher. But if you need additional help in math, I can help you out with clear, understandable, comprehensive math instruction for those of you who are at the middle school, high school, or even college level. Check out my Math Help program. You can find a link to it in the description of this video. I promise you it will help you out big time in your respective studies. Now, if you happen to be preparing for some sort of test that has a dedicated math section, there's a lot of them. Things like the GED, SAT, ASVAB, ACT, GRE, GMAT, maybe a teacher certification exam, I can help you out. If you homeschool, I have excellent homeschool math courses for middle and high school mathematics. If you need a pair of math notes, I'm going to leave links to my math notes in the description of this video. And if this video helps you out, don't forget to help me out by liking and subscribing to my channel. That would be much appreciated. So now let's get into how to multiply fractions. And if you want to play along, go ahead and tell me the answer if you know how to multiply 2/5 times 1/3. Of course, I'm going to cover this here in just one second. I'll put the answer to that in the comment section. But here's the deal. Don't guess, okay? Now, if you have to take a guess, that's fine. But that's the thing with fractions. Students confuse, how to multiply and divide, add and subtract. They'll like, oh yeah, I think I do this. You don't want to be thinking anything. You just want to be absolutely positive on how to do these operations. So let's get into it right now. And we'll actually do this problem here, okay? 1/2 times 4/3. So how do you multiply fractions? Well, here is the deal. It is super easy. What you're going to do is you're going to multiply the respective numerators. The numerator is the top number. Okay, so basically you're just going to multiply across. So here we have 1/2 times 4/3. The numerators is 1 and 4. So we're going to multiply across. That'll be our numerator. And then our denominator, we're just going to multiply the respective denominators or the bottom numbers. So 2 times 3 is going to be 2 times 3. That's going to be our answer for our denominator. And 1 times 4 will be our answer for our numerator. So when we're finding the product of 1/2 times 4/3, all we do is simply multiply across. And now let's go ahead and figure this out. So 1 times 4 is, of course, 4. 2 times 3 is 6. But here is the deal, okay? You never just multiply fractions together and just stop. You always need to ask yourself, is your fraction fully simplified? Is it reduced 100%? If you left your answer just like this, a lot of math teachers will take points off, as they should, because you need to know how to simplify and reduce. Of course, that's a separate discussion, but 4/6 is equal to, or can be reduced to the fraction 2/3. So always leave your answer in its most simplified manner. Now let's take a look at the same problem and talk about how you can kind of reduce or simplify your answer as you do your multiplication. So Here we go. We got 1/2 times 4/3. I already talked about to multiply fractions, you're going to multiply the respective numerators and denominators. So here, this is going to be 1 times 4, okay? And then our denominator will be 2 times 3. Now you can see I'm doing something right here. And what I'm doing is called cross-canceling, okay? Now, let me show you exactly what's going on, okay? So 4, all right, we can think of 4 as 2 times 2, okay? That is 4. And all these things, all these numbers are being separated by multiplication. That means that these are factors, okay? So in math, when you have a like factor, in other words, you have the same factor in the numerator. So in this case, 4 is 2 times 2. There's a 2 factor up in the numerator, but I also have a 2 down here in the denominator. When you have like factors, 1 to 1, okay, between the numerator and denominator, you can do something called cross cancel. So basically this 2 can divide into that 2, and that goes away. And now let's take a look at what's left. Okay, what's left is 1 times this 2. 1 times 2 is 2. And then this right here is really just a 1, but just 1 times 3. So that is 2/3, and that is our final answer. So you can kind of reduce by cross-canceling as you go. So let me show you this kind of again one last time. So here it is, 1/2 times 4/3. It's 1 times 4 right there. So what you're thinking is, oh, 2 goes into that 4, 2. Okay, that's another way to cross cancel. So now I have 1 times 2 is 2. And then right here, anytime you cross cancel, you're really just leaving a 1 behind. So 1 times 3 is 3. So there is our reduced answer. Or if you're more comfortable, you can just get your final answer and reduce it this way as well. But you do need to reduce or simplify those fractions. Okay, so again, multiplying fractions, not that difficult, but let's take a look at some other situations that you're going to be facing. And we'll start talking about mixed numbers. So this is a mixed number, okay, because it's a whole number with some sort of fraction. So it's like 3 and 1/2, we classify this as a mixed number. Matter of fact, let's just do a quick view. This is a mixed number fraction. A fraction like 3/5 is a proper fraction because the denominator, that bottom number, is larger than the numerator. So this is a proper fraction. And then if the numerator, that top number, is bigger than the bottom number, this is called an improper fraction. Okay, so you do need to be familiar with these terms. So we can convert mixed number fractions into improper fractions, and you need to know how to do that. And matter of fact, we're going to discuss that right now. So when we want to multiply two fractions, and one of those fractions is a mixed number fraction, one or both, okay, you need to convert all mixed number fractions into improper fractions. So let's do this now. So how do I do that? Well, you take this 2, you multiply by that 3, so 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1. Okay, so 6 plus 1 is 7 over that little denominator right there, so that's 7/2. Okay, so if you need additional help on fractions, how to write mixed number fractions as improper fractions, I have additional videos on this. I teach all of this in my pre-algebra course and my math foundation course. You can check those out by just going to my math help program. But let's go ahead and keep this problem going. So the first thing you're going to do anytime you're multiplying fractions, and one or more of the fractions is a mixed number, is you got to convert that into an improper fraction. So that's going to be 7/2 times our 3/5. So now we have one numerator, one denominator, one numerator, one denominator. And at this point, we're good to go ahead and actually multiply the respective numerators and denominators. So 7 times 3, always write your factors out like this, and I'm going to show you why here in a second. So 7 times 3, just don't answer that. You're going to be like, oh, 7 times 3 is 21. Show your work for your teacher, but there's another reason here in a second I'm going to show you. Of course, 2 times 5 is 10, but you want to write it like this, because here I have 7 times 3 and 2 times 5. The reason why you want to write out your all your factors here is because you want to look for opportunities for cross-canceling, so you can make sure that this fraction here is fully simplified. So 2 can't go into 3, 5 can't go into 7. So All these numbers here are prime, so this answer is fully simplified. Now, one thing that we just did here is we took a mixed number and we wrote it as an improper fraction. Okay, we went from a mixed number to improper fraction, but you can also go from an improper fraction to a mixed number. You need to know how to do that. And the way that's done is you simply take your numerator. Okay, if we're dealing with an improper fraction, we take our numerator and we can divide it by the denominator. So 21 divided by 10 is going to be, of course, 10 goes into 21, 2, so 2 times 10 is 20, so that's a remainder 1, and then we're going to put that over this number here, 10. So 21 tenths is the same thing as 2 and 1 tenths. Now, I'm going to give you a really, really good piece of advice right here that will save you a lot of points on quizzes and tests. If you did this problem correct, and the final answer is 21 tenths, and it's fully simplified, do not convert this into a mixed number fraction unless you are told to by your teacher or the quiz or test exams, okay? Don't take the initiative and do the extra work. There's two reasons why. One, it's going to take you time to write 21 tenths as a mixed number, 2 and 1 tenths. It's going to take you additional time on your test or quiz. And two, I've seen thousands upon thousands of errors where the student actually had the right answer, but then he went to go do this division and then they messed this up. They write like 2 and 1/8, or they make some sort of mistake and then they turn this answer in, and then you got to mark it down, and then there's a lot of, like, sad faces with tears and everything else, and nobody likes that. So here's the deal, okay? Unless you're told to, again, write your final answer as a mixed number fraction, do not do it. However, you do need to make sure all your answers when it comes to fractions, whether you're adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, are fully simplified. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at one more situation, and this is just more review with mixed numbers. So here we have 5 1/2 times 2 1/3. Again, we can't multiply mixed number form, so we want to go ahead and change those into improper fractions. So here, this will be 2 times 5 is 10 plus 1. That's going to be 11 or 11 halves. Here, this will be 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7 or 7/3. So now I want to go ahead and do the problem. 11 halves times 7/3. So here it is, 11 halves times 7/3. Again, I'm going to multiply the respective numerators and denominators. So 11 times 7, I'm going to write the factors out this way. 2 times 3 is 2 times 3, and I'm looking for opportunities to cross cancel. Again, these are all prime numbers, so let me go ahead and do the actual multiplication. 11 times 7 is 77, and 2 times 3 is 6, and I can be 100% confident that that answer is fully simplified. Again, you don't have to question whether this answer is fully simplified if you kind of took a look at the factors and you look for opportunities to cross cancel. Okay, so that really, really helps you out. Kind of like doing the work in advance, and then you can just be fully confident that your answer is correct. Okay, so we just covered how to multiply fractions. How did you do? If you knew all this stuff and you're like, this was just total review, I must give you a nice little happy face, an A+, a 100%, and multiple stars, so you can have a wonderful day. Nice job. Okay, but again, remember, let's kind of go back up here in the very beginning. The easiest thing to kind of learn about fractions, in my opinion, is how to multiply. Okay, now you can't divide fractions unless you understand how to multiply fractions. So if you're kind of reviewing fractions, start with multiplication, then move on to division. What you're going to do with division problems of fractions, excuse me, is you're going to convert division problems into multiplication problems. So all this right here is really just multiplication, and you're talking about 2 of the 4 primary operations that we do in mathematics when it comes to fractions is super easy, okay? Multiplying and dividing fractions, easy, easy, easy. But when it comes to addition and subtraction, this is where students kind of like panic because they're like, oh no, I got to find the LCD. Well, you got to check out some of my videos on fractions. As a matter of fact, I have one or two, maybe even more than that, videos that have over 1 million views on fractions because people are looking for little shortcuts on how to add and subtract. And there is an awesome little hack and technique on how to add and subtract fractions. So make sure you follow through on that. And again, if you need more formal review and instruction on fractions, 2 courses to check out in my Math Help program, my Math Foundations course and my Pre-Algebra course. Okay, so with that being said, I definitely wish you all the best in your mathematics adventures. Thank you for your time and have a great day.